league of your own. Thank you, Jay. Well, Mikey, really? You have every single time to go and pick the toughest guy, the biggest puncher. I mean, this is like, I'm gonna have like, my heart is gonna be pounding there again. And you, Sergey, instead of getting an easy defense of the title you just won, calling out pound for pound, arguably the best fighter in the world. I mean, you guys really are a league of your own as well. You are two fighters who dare to be great. And that is refreshing. Two fighters in the same weight class. This is not a great smaller guy trying to fight a great bigger guy, or a money grab where somebody just wants to go and fight somebody because they can end up making the biggest possible payday. These are two guys in their prime. 50-0, undefeated, 40 knockouts, guys who can punch, guys who can box. This is really the best fighting the best. And for Mikey Garcia to dare to move up and win a world title in a 4th weight class is exactly what the LA Times wrote last week. Garcia looking to make history against Lipinets. And I think they were spot on. But what they missed is that Sergey Lipinets is here to make history as well. Because he knows what a win over a legendary fighter like Mikey Garcia would mean to him and to his career. So we really are excited to bring this amazing fight, this amazing 140-pound world championship fight to you. It's actually going to be a night of 140-pounders. There's going to be the WBA World Championship fight on the line as well. It's going to be the rematch between Rances Barthelemy and Kirill Relik, which was a terrific fight. Some felt it was a bit of a disputed decision. Both guys were on the canvas, and we're going to see that as well. It's probably going to be one of the biggest 140-pound nights I can remember, certainly in a long time. The fight will be taking place from the legendary Alamodome. We hosted some huge fights there, some great toe-to-toe showdowns, and I know this will be no exception. Tickets are going on sale tomorrow at 12 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock Pacific Time. Please make sure you encourage your readers and listeners and viewers to get the tickets. Tickets are starting at $20, so we do expect a huge crowd, just like we've done for some of the other big fights we've done from the Alamodome. I'd like to acknowledge and thank our co-promoter for the event, Tom Brown, and his daughter Brittany as well. I've seen Brittany, I don't know if Tom is here, but I'd like to acknowledge him and thank him for the opportunity to work with him and his terrific staff again. I'd like, of course, to thank the man who makes it all happen. He is represented here by the Watsons, and that is my good friend Al Heyman. I'd like to acknowledge Corona as well for the continued support of the sport of boxing. And now it is a pleasure for me to turn the microphone to my good friend, the president of Showtime Sports, Stephen Espinosa.
Thanks, Richard. It's no secret it's been a great year for boxing. And as we come to the end of the year, it's sort of human nature. There's a lot of people rushing to take credit for it. All this talk of repositioning the sport, repositioning, whatever that means. Boxing doesn't need repositioning. And if it did, we wouldn't go to the same people who were responsible for positioning it in the first place. Boxing doesn't need reposition. What it needs is good fights. Good, high-quality, competitive fights. Fights like Santa Cruz Frampton and Thurman and Danny Garcia, or Spence and Brooke. Not fight cards where the B side on the televised card doesn't win a single round all night. That's not repositioning the sport. The only way to continue to elevate boxing, to put boxing in the spotlight, to reposition it if you'd like, is to consistently do good fights. consistently do good fights. And that's what we have been doing at Showtime Boxing for the last couple of years. No other network has done the quality of fights that Showtime has been doing. No other network is as committed to the sport as Showtime has been. Putting a fight card on basic cable doesn't reposition the sport. Putting on great fights positions the sport. The best fighting the best, as Richard said. That's what Showtime is doing. That's what Mikey Garcia has been doing. Now think about this. He had a layoff of over 2 years. He came back in 18 months, 4 fights, 2 title fights, 2 different weight classes, going for a world title in the 4th weight class, something that only Pacquiao and Marquez have done before. That is some really good company. That's what great fighters do. Historically, what separates legendary fighters from very good fighters is the ones who challenge themselves, who travel across weight classes to challenge themselves up and down. And that's what Mikey is doing. But of course, there are 2 sides to this story. Those of you who've been paying attention have seen Sergey Lipinets making a lot of noise on Showtime undercards lately. He has risen very quickly. If you look at his record, you would say 13-0 fighting Mikey Garcia. That sounds crazy. But it's not. If you look at Lipinets' record and the kind of competition he's faced, his last 7 opponents have a combined record of 163-15. That's not something you usually see on a fighter with 13 fights. You don't see a fighter at 13-0 who's regularly sparring with Terrence Crawford and Ricky Burns and Ray Beltran. But that's what you see Sergey Lipinets doing. You know, Sergey, of course, is a kickboxing champion. Is that going to help him in the fight against Mikey Garcia? And surprisingly, maybe a little bit. He is a combat veteran. Whatever happens in the ring, he's seen it before. And it will be an exciting night, I guarantee that. Richard.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to just have a little bit of a Q&A with the participants and their trainers, and then we'll open it up to the press so that they can have whatever questions you may have, and there's time for one-on-one and individual as well. And Alex is going to help us translate for Sergey. So Mikey, let's just start with you. 18 months, you now have 3 world titles, going for your 4th world title. How would you assess what you have been able to accomplish, your last decision over Broner, a 4-time champion himself, and now as you get ready to fight Sergey?
Well, first of all, you know, it's been a great comeback, great return to boxing. Everybody knows I did have a layoff for over 2 years, and when I came back, I wanted to move fast. I wanted to take on big challenges, take on world title fights, and that's what we're doing. So far, we're on track. You know, I want to reclaim what I think was somehow lost in that 2-year layoff that I had, and this is what I need. I need to take on the challenges that a lot of media or critics or boxing analysts might, you know, doubt. We took on Dejan in only my 2nd fight back, when a lot of people thought it might be too much. But you know, I think slowly we're proving to everybody that, you know, I'm better than ever, and I'm really, you know, the fighter that's gonna take on these big challenges in order to cement my legacy in the boxing league.
Well, in terms of your legacy, should you win this fight at 140, there's only 2 other guys who have been able to do that, Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez, to win at 126, 130, 135, and now 140. What would that outstanding accomplishment mean to you?
Well, I wasn't aware of that. I know.
You weren't aware of that?
I wasn't aware. It's not the reason why I was going for that. I know they won their titles. I know there's other fighters who have won titles in 4 or more divisions, but I wasn't aware that from the featherweights to the super lightweight, those two names were the only ones. I mean, that'd be a great, accomplishment if I can be included in that discussion along, Juan Marquez, who for me is one of the best fighters that I've seen, and along Manny Pacquiao, same thing. I mean, that'd be another win in itself.
You're a humble guy. Do you consider yourself in that same sentence?
I think there's more still to accomplish in order to be equal or parallel to those names.
A lot of names have been thrown out. A lot of people want to fight you, and we've seen in the past several months all of them throw their hat into the ring to want the opportunity. What made you decide on fighting Sergey, an undefeated fighter, a fighter who is 13-0, 10 knockouts, and a tough guy? How did you pick him of all of these other guys who would like a shot at you?
We were looking at other names as well, and when we're not able to secure somebody else, for various reasons. Sometimes it's the marketability or what they bring to the table is not exciting enough for me. A world champion like Sergey Lipinets is more exciting to me than just somebody else, that's going to be an easy title defense for me or just another fight. I want a challenge, and this man presents that challenge. He's a bigger man, naturally. He's going to be very hungry, very motivated. He knows the victory over me, obviously, launches his career to the very, very top. So that makes for an interesting fight. And of course, winning that 4th division championship for me is a big deal. My dad had always wanted a 3-division championship, but I'm going to give him a 4th title. So that's something that really excites me.
He's a big puncher and 140 pounds. Does that concern you?
Of course, there's concern. I'm fighting a bigger man, and that's something that we have to be careful and watch out for. And we'll come up with a good game plan. My brother and my dad will still look at video and decide what game plan we want to bring to the ring on February the 10th. But of course, that size advantage that he holds will be something to watch out for.
Robert, can I ask you next, but what about going to San Antonio? Obviously, you're a Southern California man. You're taking your act on the road down to San Antonio. How about fighting in the Alamo Dome?
Look, San Antonio has been great to boxing and great to the Garcia team. We've had many successful fights in San Antonio, great wins in San Antonio, so we love it. We have so many fans, and I've always said, Texas, the whole state has always been great when it comes to boxing fans. We're honored to fight in San Antonio.
And how do you prepare Mikey differently now at 140 pounds?
Well, look, we know Sergey is a very, very dangerous fighter, very dangerous champion. He's gonna come with everything. I know he's hungry. I know he wants to become a big name, great fighter, and that's by beating Mikey. But Mikey's very smart in the ring. We're gonna come up with a good game plan. We're gonna have big sparring partners, strong, heavier guys, which I'm already talking to a few that are willing to come and help spar. So the sparring is gonna be a big challenge for Mikey also, because we're bringing in some real tough, solid sparring partners.
Sergey, I know you understand a lot of English, but we're going to have Alex help you with the translation. Thank you for joining us here today. How have you been able to enjoy your championship? You moved over from kickboxing, and now with just 13 professional fights, you have a world title. How have you enjoyed the transition, and what's it been like for you?
Здравствуйте все, спасибо, что собрались здесь. Конечно, это было очень тяжело, тяжелые тренировки, хорошие тренера, хорошая команда, мне очень повезло. Конечно же, я очень рад, что так быстро смог стать чемпионом мира. И я очень хотел бы, конечно, драться с большими именами, такие как Гарcia. И вот мне теперь есть этот шанс, и я постараюсь сделать все для победы.
It was not that easy, right, from kickboxing to boxing. He had to work hard. He had to stay in the gym most of the time. He had to deprive himself from a lot of enjoyment that California and United States of America put on the table in front of you. He put it all aside. He did everything he had to do. Went from one gym to another, trained, spar with everybody, whoever they put in front of him. He got lucky that he had a great team around him, great trainers, great management, and he was always aiming for the stars. He wanted to be the best at what he does. And Mikey Garcia is a great challenge, I mean, great champion. He wants to be where Mikey is. That's the only way to get there.
You won this title just a month ago, and now just 3 months after that, you're going to fight a great champion like Mikey. Why didn't you take an easier fight? What made you want to do this right now?
Ну, если бы я взял легче бой, вы бы сказали, что я беру слабых соперников и выигрываю у них. И я взял серьезный бой. Вы спрашиваете, почему я не беру полегче что-нибудь. Здесь нет золотой середины, и поэтому...
Well, it's a catch-22. If I would have taken an easy fight, everybody would have said, oh, you're taking an easy fight, you're fighting lesser opposition. I'm taking a great challenge, Mikey Garcia, and everybody is saying, either you're not ready or why are you taking that tough of a fight? So it's basically, you can't please everybody. He's pleasing himself. He's trying to make where he's going in the shortcut, the fastest way possible. He had a lot of challenge in front of him before. He overcame it, and he's going to do that same thing again.
As Steven Espinoza mentioned, 163-15 are your past opponents, but you've also been able to spar with Hank Lundy and Terrence Crawford. How much have they prepared you, and will they prepare you for a guy like Mikey?
He knocked out Lipinets with the right hand.
Ну, хорошие спарринги с хорошими соперниками, конечно же, очень быстро меня подняли на тот уровень, в котором я нахожусь. И я надеюсь, у меня и дальше будут очень хорошие спарринги, хорошие спарринг-партнеры.
Well, that's basically the key to everything, to have a good sparring that will be able to hit you and show you where your holes are, and that's going to prepare you for a bigger challenge. Every time he sparred was people like you mentioned, and he realized where he is at a game of boxing. They showed him, okay, you're not there yet, or you're already there. Made him feel more confident for whatever fight was coming up, and that's what made him to beat.
Well, you've got a great trainer, buddy. What holes do you see in Mikey that you think Sergey can try and take advantage of? Or is there such a thing? Does he just have to simply come up with a game plan that will be effective, or are there holes in this man's game?
Well, there's not many holes because he comes from a great family of boxing, you know, so we just have to prepare for any and everything. And this way that come fight night, we have an answer for everything. And if we don't have an answer for one thing, we'll have 2 answers for something else. But the key is that we just got to be on point, you know, from the beginning to the end. You know what I mean? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But, you know, I believe that that night, or right now I should say that Sergey right now is on a mission. I know Mike is on a mission, and I respect it. I respect the fact that he's fighting Sergey, and respect the fact that Sergey is fighting him. I mean, and people were asking me, why would you fight Mikey Garcia? I'm like, because the easier fights to me are at 147. You know what I mean? And he doesn't want to go to 47 yet. I mean, I really wanted the other Garcia. Danny, I think that's an easier fight for us, but, you know, they didn't want to go up to 47, so, you know, they wanted to stay at 140. So, you know, champions do what Sergey's doing, and that's fighting the best. And Mikey's doing what champions do. They fight the best. You know, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know what I mean? But before we go to another question, I want to say congratulations to you. And I would like to ask the media and everyone in here a question tonight. But I want everyone to be honest. It's pertaining to both fighters, but I need your honest opinion. Now, I know I'm not the most handsomest guy in the world, but these motherfuckers are ugly as hell. That's a scary ass poster. Jim, thank you.
We needed that, Richard. Very good, buddy. With that, I think we'll open it up. I can't top that.
Just imagine we have to deal with it every day.
Did you translate that to him, or you're not coming back? Did you understand that, Sergey? Yeah. Okay. That's a scary poster.
Next time he holds mitts for him, he might miss just by accident.
Mikey thinks he's good looking.
Good thing I don't get paid to think.
All right, let's open it up. I think we have a microphone out there. I want to acknowledge the great Sam Watson and Team Watson, Brandon, Marcus out here. Team Watson, we're staying happy holiday. Who's got a question? There's a microphone right here.
Over there.
Lance Pugmire, the LA Times. Great writer. Chronicles the sport.
Hi guys, thank you for the time. Mikey, from your perspective, when you weighed everything, why was going this route better than the other route that Golden Boy had previously offered?
Golden Boy and I were in discussions to secure the Linares fight, but they themselves also suggested that we could wait and that we both take an intermediate match. They feel the financial aspect of the sport would be better if we wait, maybe sometime next summer. And then when that's out of the table, what else is next for me? I mean, we looked at other options, but the opportunity to become a 4th division world champion obviously excited me more, and that's why we're here.
Do you stay at 140, or does this give you the flexibility to consider going back and forth, wherever the biggest fights are? What is your thinking?
No, I still plan on fighting Linares, and I would love to fight him at 135. He says he's willing to go to 40, but I would prefer we fight at 35. So this is the task in front of me first. I got to get through this before I can, look forward to other fights. But I still plan on getting that fight. Hopefully we can secure that in this upcoming year.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Sergey and Mikey. Question for both of you guys. What's your prediction for this fight?
Got a question for Sergey?
Yeah, both of you.
Ну, конечно, я надеюсь, он без травм закончится. Я думаю, что я выиграю, Майки думаю, что он выиграет, и мы постараемся показать красивый бой. Но здесь не загадывать нельзя, потому что это бокс. И постараемся все сделать для победы.
Well, I believe that I'm going to win. Mikey believes he's going to win. And everything will unravel when we step in the ring. Like, one thing that we can guarantee right now, sitting at that table, that it's going to be a great fight, no matter what it is.
I also think it's going to be a very good fight. I think the challenge for me, like I said, I'm fighting bigger man, and on fight night, the size advantage that he holds over me might be enough to make it that much more of an exciting fight, and it'll be interesting to see how well I can adapt to the size. Just like when I fought Adrian Broner, he was definitely the bigger man in the ring that night. So I have to make adjustments in order to overcome those challenges. But I mean, we're fighting an undefeated world champion who knows that a victory over me would definitely, launch his career to the very, very ceiling, and that just makes for a better fight. It makes for excitement, and that's what I want. That's what we want to be able to give the fans.
Bianca LaBeouf, Black Sports Online. Question for Sergey. As the defending champion, do you feel like you're receiving the respect level from the fans that will be tuning into this fight that are more familiar with Mikey Garcia? And for Mikey, going into this fight, since you have another opportunity just on the horizon, is it a distraction, or is it that much more of a driving force to be successful in this fight?
Да, конечно, я смотрел бои. Это мой вес. Я все смотрю бои своей весовой категории. Хороший боец. И
Well, before Sergey took that fight, he said that he watched, Mikey's fights, and he believes that 140 pounds, that's his territory and that's his belt. And he's up against an excellent fighter, a fighter that never lost to anybody, and he knows what he's facing when he steps in that ring. He'll be ready for that, no problem.
As far as the question regarding the distraction, I don't see a distraction. I'm focused on my upcoming fight, February the 10th. I know that there's other fights that could, get done later in the year, but my main focus right now is February 10th against Lipinets. That's the target. After that, then we'll see what's available. Even though we would love to see that Linares fight or another unification match or something like that, I can't let that distract me, and I stay focused, on my fight throughout the entire camp, and then throughout the fight, you're gonna see that I'm always very, very focused.
Mikey, do you think that you're in a position now with Floyd having retired? Clearly, Canelo Alvarez is very popular, but do you feel as though since you're bilingual and you have an opportunity to now win these 4 titles, that you could rise up and be the face and the man in this sport?
Well, I think the possibility is definitely there, and I think we're on the right track to accomplish that. I mean, I don't know if another fighter right now that is undefeated and going after a 4th division title, I don't know, I may be wrong, but I just don't see it. I mean, there's other champions. There's other champions who are unified champions or 2 divisional champions, but I'd be, in a class of its own with 4 divisions.
And do you think being humble and courteous and gracious is a good way to go about that after what we've seen with other fighters who have been much more outspoken, or do you think you have to augment and change your public style and approach?
No, I think there's room for someone like myself. I think, obviously being loud and I don't know, maybe that also sells tickets, that, helps with ratings, but I'm not that guy. I think I do my talking in the ring. I take on, big challenges, and I, beat my opponents convincingly. I don't leave doubt, and I think that's what the fans are attracted to, and that's why people show me that love and that respect. And as long as I keep doing what I'm doing right now, I think we're on a very good track to accomplish that stardom that everybody says I could reach.
Any other questions from the audience?
All right, Richard. Thank you all for having us. We look forward to Saturday, February 10th. It's going to be in San Antonio. It's going to be live on Showtime. And we thank Steven Espinosa for putting together this great match along with Ringstar and Al Heyman. And we look forward to the big fight. Thank you all. These guys are good.
Yeah, stop it now. Remember, it gets hot, so.
We're gonna put the fighters.
Leave that one on for now. This is for like when we jump out of here. They're gonna pose them. So yeah. So they're good. We want a good zoom in on that. So. Get a good close.
Hold that. All right, guys, let's face the cameras. We go right here. Right here, guys. The TV's in the back, guys. Mike Roberts. We have you over here with Sergey and Robert on the side of Mike. You know, these each sides. We can't start like this. Get nice. Yep. That's radio for sure. Right there. Fine. Back row, guys.
I'm not gonna be able to get there. If they join. Okay.
All right, guys. Let's go right here for sure. Right there. We got the shot. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. All right, guys. We'll have the fighters do one-on-one. Sergey, if we could have you and Alice over here. We'll have you right over here. Right over here. Flow.
Hey, do I turn it off first or do I close it off? Okay, I need the other lens. Sorry. Let's go that way. Cool. Let's go that way.
And I want the picture of. Oh.
Chill with the water. Yeah. Okay, they're gonna be right here.
All right, guys, let's get what we can of the artwork in it. Right here, boss.
Sorry,
We can have the scene right here. Just get a little bit of room, guys. And start working in questions, please.
Why don't you guys ask questions? Right? Everybody wants the one-on-one shine, Mikey. All right. So who's up first?
All right, fire away, guys, please.
Ready? Get your shot. Get the lighting.
How was the face-off?
Good. He means business. He's serious, you know. There was no jokes, no laughs, just business.
Do you see anything in his eyes?
We don't look at stuff like that. I can't really tell. He's a world champion, you know, and he believes he's gonna win. So there's nothing really to see or tell just by a quick stare.
What's going to happen with the WBC lightweight tonight? The WBC?
They presented a letter. The letter said we have been allowed to take on these other fights, the Corona fight, this one, and they're demanding that we face Linares next immediately. Same thing with Linares.
forcing him to face me next, I'm up for that. That's what we want. So that's why we think that fight will happen for sure. In the maybe like at 135. 135.
Are you separate from Golden Boy after this fight?
Well, I've been hearing rumors, but I don't know. I mean, you never know with the contracts, with extensions or different terms. So I don't pay attention to that. I think, you know, the good thing is that the WBC is ordering that fight to happen next. If he doesn't want to fight for whatever reason, whether it's a promotional issue or something else, then the WBC will no longer recognize him as a diamond champion. At that point, I'm gonna look forward to the other fights. But WBC seems to really want that fight. I want it, he wants it, so I don't think there's a problem for that fight not happening.
So when you say you want it at 35, is it because of the belts?
Yeah, I mean, he's willing to fight at 40, but I actually would like to fight him at 35 because the belts are there, the real mighty title, the WBA title is on the line, and I think that will mean more for both of us, especially with all the titles being at stake there, and to really, you know, claim supremacy of the lightweight division. This is more why I was around that.
Do you still feel more like a lightweight, like a natural
I still do. I still feel that lightweight is a more natural fit for me. But I'm taking on fights at 140 because this is a big challenge, a bigger man, and you know it's a world title fight. So this is at 40, so you know I look for that fourth title.
Title fight down to 135, but this will be your second fight at 140. Could that affect the path going back down to 135?
You know what? I think it's all about having the right guy, the right game plan, you know, work ethic. Even though this is my second fight at 140, I don't think it's going to affect me when I decide to come back to 135. I think I'll be just fine. I'll be you know, well prepared when I do want to come down to 35. So the right diet, you really can't go wrong. Now, if I really see anything that's going to affect me in a negative way, then I would probably at that point decide to stay at 140 and maybe invite as well. But as of right now, my first choice would be to fight him at 135.
Like, there's a lot of talk about you fighting Lomachenko in the future, possibly. But when you were in New York, Bob Arum was pretty dismissive and said that Lomachenko would make a joke out of you. Quote.
Well, I know there's a lot of talk between the media and the fans. They want to see him fight, you know, bigger challenges. He's fighting smaller men, and he himself doesn't give himself that much credit for fighting ring up for the size of him. Well, I'm moving up in weight. Even though I'm champion at 35, I'm moving up in weight to fight bigger men because I do want that challenge. If he's ready to move up to 35, you know, we could definitely do that. I know Bob won't say anything, you know, positive about that. I don't even know if he's interested in actually facing me. The way I know Top Rank works, they'll have somebody else in line for him to win the title, you know, at 35 or maybe even at 40. Most likely he's not going to want to face me because Bob won't allow it.
Yeah, Richard said that he doesn't think Bob will ever let Lomachenko near you.
I don't think he would. I think Bob Arum has been doing business so well for so long, the way he runs his business, that it's not in his best interest to face me with his fighters. Whether it's financial reasons or taking a loss or whatever, I think he's not going to be very excited to do business with me. But I know Lomachenko would take the fight. I would also take that fight. So maybe down the road we could actually have that fight.
What would happen in the fight?
I think my skills, my ability, my strength, my size advantage definitely helps him. He's a great fighter. He's got great skills, but you know, I want to see him fight guys at least in his division. You know, other champions like Davis or Berchet, guys that are same size and are very talented as well, strong guys. I think he still has a chance to beat these guys, like I mentioned, but it could present a real challenge, not smaller guys.
What do you make of his aura now being created about him, that he's some unstoppable fighter, that no one can touch him, that when he steps in the ring, he steps into the matrix? What do you make of that moniker now being created around him?
And given what you said about him fighting smaller guys.
Well, he's got to do what he's got to do, no matter who's in front of him. You can't deny the skills. You can't deny the speed or the footwork or the different angles. It's there. You see it. Whether it's a small guy or a bigger guy. I mean, he did it with Walters too. You know, so you can't deny that. But in order to give credit or more credit, I think he needs to be facing a bigger man, or at least a man his own size in his weight class. To be able to get that credit. Until then, you know, I think that's why there's still some criticism. But you know, he's definitely got the skills, and I mean they're promoting him very well for that.
I mean, how close do you think you are to becoming a pay-per-view star? Showtime's obviously pushing you, and rightfully so, for a lot of reasons.
I think we're on the right track. I think a few fights from now, we might be that star that people expect. We need the right things. Right now, we're pushing for that too. You know, we're trying to secure, like I told you, the big fights. This is a world title fight. After this, we can probably secure a Lipinets fight or another unification match, maybe a 35 or 40. You know, but those are the fights that will land me that pay-per-view status, and I think there's not that many fighters out there doing that. The other fighters, you know, are champions and they're doing well, but they're not taking the risks or the steps that I am. And I think we're gonna be there very, very soon.
Can you feel your marketability and your name brand growing?
It's been growing ever since I came back. It was never really lost. I mean, even though I was gone, it seemed like my name was still relevant, you know, in the sport, and that helped me for when I returned. I came back, and it just seems like it's just taking, you know, leaps forward every fight. And like I said, that's the reason why I think in a few fights we will be at that pay-per-view level.
Do you think you need to move to welterweight for that pay-per-view fight to happen now, or is that like Lomachenko or welterweight?
Well, with the pay-per-view, you gotta have the right, you know, partner, you gotta have the right name. And until we have that, you know, it's hard to tell. I don't want to rush things either. I've seen other fighters jump on a pay-per-view or independent pay-per-views and not do well, and that hurts me. I don't want to make that mistake. So you need the right guy in order to sell. But we're on the right track. Like I said, you know, we're taking the proper steps, the right fights. This fight we're looking at, it's another world title fight. So I realized Daniel Marquez and Pacquiao had one title from featherweight and up north to junior welterweight. That is great. You know, that's the house of Marquez. I'm very happy with the way things are shaping up, and I really do think that very soon I will be on pay-per-view.
Mikey, you saw the belt today. What did you think? To get you that level, given the current landscape, who would be that guy?
Right now, taking on Lipinets first, followed by Lipinets, which I think would do very, very well for me in my career. After that, then we're very close to maybe the next one being a pay-per-view. Names that can land a pay-per-view, depending on what weight class I'm looking at. But right now, at 140, there's not a whole lot right now at this moment. The one that was there was Crawford, right now he's at 47. So maybe we come back to 35 and then we try to secure that Lomachenko fight at 35. By then, he might already be there. That could possibly land on the pay-per-view. If not, then I'm going to have to move up to 47. At 47, he got a lot of names. He got a big pool of names. I think any of the names at 47 would land pay-per-view if I accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish right now.
You saw the belt today. What did you think of it?
I want to match my brother and Vargas. So they had the IBF. My brother had the IBF.
You never had one?
Vargas had the IBF at 154. So I want to add the IBF to the collection. Maybe we can all take a picture showing off the same belt.
In terms of going up to 47, the frame and stuff like that, how do you think things will change in camp to fill out to that frame? I mean, is that a legitimate concern about your size going into that weight division?
I'm not looking at 47 right away. Like I said, I would probably have to, but that may be if I did want to get at 47, of course, there's going to be some changes in the training, you know, to fill me into that division. But I also have to fight smart. I'm not going to be looking for the knockout maybe as much, because I may not be able to secure a knockout. So I'm going to have to maybe make some changes, maybe fight smarter. But, you know, those are the fights that will be on a pay-per-view scale. And I think the fight fans will be very excited to see me with those welterweights.
but we just got to take the right steps at the right time.
You called out you called out Miguel Cotto on Twitter a few times. Would you still be willing to go to 54 for the right fight? Could you be a 6th division champ?
I was willing to go to 154 for Cotto, but I don't see any interest anymore at 154. I mean, my division is obviously lightweight and super lightweight right now, but 154 was interesting enough for Cotto and exciting for Cotto. The name Cotto carried more weight than the division or the title, the championship belt for me. I don't think I'll be going to 54 anytime soon. Maybe years from now, if I'm big enough or the right fight at that time. I don't see myself there right now.
Do you see Lipinets as a vulnerable guy, given your style? So a lot of people online are saying that it's going to be a fight where it's going to showcase you. You could potentially get a knockout. Even Lipinets has kind of seen those tweets and tweeted out like, hey, I'm not just going to give this belt over to Mikey. But do you see it kind of going your way like that because of his defense and the way he's come out to build the damage in the other fights?
I've seen Lipinets on 2 occasions, and I don't see it the way most fans or most critics are writing. I think Lipinets is actually a very, very dangerous fight for me. When I consider the size advantages, the strength advantage that he has, those are concerns that I can't ignore. And when he lets his hands go, he's dangerous. I gotta be careful. Now, do I still believe I have more skills to beat him and overcome those? Yes, I do. I think my boxing skills are greater than he has, and that's why I feel I'm gonna win. But inside of the ring, anything can happen. I mean, you've got surprises all the time. You get these young guys or young fighters fighting top contenders or world champions, and they give you the surprise. So you just can't go by what someone's writing, because most likely they never step foot inside the ring.
2 more questions, guys.
You were asked earlier about
Try to go get Robert Garcia.
Besides being world champion,
did you have to change up Mike's routine a lot?
without a doubt.
Round by round, especially
Wow, well, you know what? Mikey Garcia does love taking on challenges, and he loves to go along with those challenges. So make sure you guys check him out and check out his brother and his client, and one of the best pound-for-pound boxers on many people's top 5, top 10, Saturday, February 10th on Showtime on Cowboy Dope. I'm Cynthia Conte for Ring TV. See you guys at the fights. Bye, guys. Your father just threw me off. I was like, he's like,
he's asking for me. He's like, where's Robert? Like, where's Robert? Yeah, he's that man. He's like, where's Robert?
What's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Gallery Sports right here with Robert Garcia. Tell me, man, the name was Lipinets. So obviously, looking at kind of Lomachenko, you guys were like talking about Linares. Is Lipinets kind of that? Still kind of hold that weight? I mean, he is undefeated. It is a new weight class. It still kind of hold weight as a suitable contender for you guys.
Look, it's going to be a hell of a fight. Lipinets is a solid 140-pounder. Mikey's a champion that's been moving up from featherweight. Lipinets is a big 140-pounder, so it's a big challenge. Mikey loves those challenges. If Linares wasn't able to happen early this year, then Mikey wanted the best challenge out there, and Lipinets was the next big challenge. So that's why we're here.
The talks with Golden Boy regarding the Linares fight, did it make it seem like it's a sure thing as far as if you guys both win your next fight, as far as happening this summer?
I believe so. Look, Mikey just said, that both Golden Boy and Mikey himself agreed that it would probably be a bigger fight, maybe towards the summer. So people have to wait a few months later. That's it. They both have fights coming up. Linares fights in January, and then Mikey 2 weeks later. So it definitely has everything on paper for the fight to happen as early as June or July. So I'm looking forward to it. We definitely want that fight. I know Mikey wants that fight, and so does Golden Boy. It's an easy fight to make. So I think it's gonna happen.
Looking at obviously another name that's always talked about with Mikey is Lomachenko. I know you saw the Rigondeaux fight. What were your thoughts on that and how that ended?
Lomachenko's just a smaller guy. He's a 130 pounder. He has to move up to 135, and if he does, is to do what Mikey's doing right now, to look for bigger challenges. I don't think he's big enough for 135, but if he does it, it's for the challenge. It's just like Mikey moving up to 140. It's going to be just for the challenge. I see Linares happening. I don't see Lomachenko happening soon. He looked really good against Rigo. He did what he had to do. It's not his problem. Rigo was too small. The fight was made, and he did his job. That's why he's still pound for pound one of my favorite fighters, if not my favorite fighter. He does what he has to do, even if the fighters are smaller, moving up in weight, whatever it is, he's doing his work. I think it's a great opportunity to fight somebody like him, to show what Mikey can really do. And for him, a big challenge to move up in weight and challenge Mikey. It'll just be a huge fight.
It does seem like, because I feel like Mikey is that guy. I feel like Lomachenko's that guy who's like, just who's the next best? You know what I mean? I think they're kind of both licking their chops to fight each other. Not to say that they think the fight's easy at all, but it's more like I want to test myself.
I think so too. Look, just like Mikey moves up in weight and looks for bigger challenges, I think Lomachenko's up for all those challenges too. Since I had my gym in Oxnard and he was training in my gym, I know he always wanted the best challenges out there. He didn't want to fight guys that nobody knew who they were. Obviously there's fights that haven't been made because of the promotion or the TV network, so it's not his fault. But he's up for any challenge. So I know the way he is, and he'll fight anybody. He'll fight Mikey if Bob Arum and Mikey come to an agreement. He will fight Mikey.
With the footwork of both these guys, I feel like is excellent. Like with Garcia and Lomachenko, I think is there a way to like beat footwork, like to train beating footwork?
It's not easy, It's not easy, but when you have a bigger guy in Mikey's going to be the way bigger guy, and Mikey uses his jab very well, and Mike, Loma could do as much footwork as he wants, but Mikey's jab, holding him off and just timing him for the right punch, that right moment. I think Mikey's going to be too big for him.
Tell me, man, just kind of last question on the Rigondeaux fight. Were you surprised that he quit? Do you believe he really had a hand injury, or was it more kind of frustration?
It's possible that his hand was injured, but fighters fight with broken hands. Fighters finish fights. I think he was just frustrated. He just couldn't do nothing. He just couldn't even touch Loma, and I think that was going to happen for the remainder of the fight. So he just decided to say that's it. I'm not saying he didn't have an injured hand. He probably injured it in training, but fighters finish fights, with injured hands, broken jaws, whatever it is. I think it was more about him just frustrating and knowing that he had no chance.
The last subject I want to talk to you about is Jose Aldo. I know he was in camp with you for a little while. He just fought. Were you there for?
I wasn't there. My son was there. I wasn't.
Right. Well, I know he's been talking a lot about being a professional boxer, kind of making the transition from MMA to boxing. What you've seen of his boxing, obviously with you, that's what you're working on with him. Do you feel like he'll be successful kind of right away, or do you feel like he needs warm-up fights, things like that?
I think in the gym he did everything well. He learned a lot, and I truly believe in the fight. if you pay attention to his boxing skills, I think he showed a lot of it. He was moving his head a lot, and he was actually making his opponent miss a lot. It was just when the third round came, for whatever reason it was, he just ran out of gas. He just ran out of gas, and they had a quick exchange. He got caught and stopped, you know. But you know, that's the way UFC is, you know. That's the way it is. I was surprised he got tired in the third round. I thought he would be able to box the way he was doing it for a little bit longer. But that's just the way it is, you know. UFC, you know, it's not like boxing where you have an undefeated fighter who's going to continue winning. In UFC, you could be the best fighter out there, and you get caught in a choke lock or arm lock or whatever, and you're out, and that's it, and you're done. It's just the way it is.
And my last question, man. A lot of rumors been made of Conor McGregor fighting Manny Pacquiao in the boxing ring. What are your thoughts on that, and how does that play out?
I've heard that too, but I've heard other things, you know, regarding to Manny Pacquiao. So I really don't know what's next. Maybe the Conor McGregor Pacquiao is probably just rumors. I think it makes more sense to what I've heard from other people on what's next for Manny Pacquiao.
Well, I guess we'll find out what that is. Thanks a lot, Robert. Best of luck, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Thanks.
Not much scrum going on. Richard. How's my? I know it's not a.
It's actually had like you still have like 4 minutes left. Let's go over there, but we should talk to one of these cats first.
Lipinets? We can talk about.
Who's translating for me? Is she officially translating for me?
I'm not sure, but I think she just speaks the language. I think she's Siberian.
She is, yeah. Alright guys, thank you for watching the live feed. All the interviews will be posted on the YouTube soon, and my phone's dying, so I gotta cut it off. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next time.